For me, my pause is not that they're Christian so much as this particular institution's strong anti-LGBTQ stance and their strong belief that you believe this to your core and you take it out in.
I love the fact that this green-haired cat lady says that she doesn't have any problem with Christians. Is that this Christianing that they are doing is highly problematic and extremely unsafe. It's like a dynamite. Interesting that she doesn't pick on any of the other Abrahamic religions, which I believe share the same values when it comes to gay marriage like the Christians. She doesn't talk about the Muslims. She doesn't talk about the Jewish people. No. It's just those evil Christians that are making it feel unsafe. Man, am I the only one who think that safety is boring as fuck? Like, when I was a kid, I remember my parents would only let me 1 hour to play outside. I think I was like 9 or 10 years old. And inside it was safe. Outside it was dangerous, but I loved to go outside. It was thrilling. You know, I had freedom. I could curse. But there are people who do extreme skateboarding. There are people who like to do mountain climbing and other activities. What is with this safety? This absolute obsession. Where everywhere you look, it's like safety this, safety that. And it's very interesting because whenever you replace the word safe with censorship, the sentence makes sense, right? It's not like the Christian teachers are making children unsafe. No, it's the censorship, right? Like, we need to censor the Christian teachers, which I find it very interesting because these people are far more bigoted than the Christians. Like, even at the peak of the Bush era, when you had the maximum level of Christianity, if you are a teacher which believed that gay people should be married, they wouldn't try to ban you. Isn't that interesting? And not to mention the fact that at the end of the day, the teacher is supposed to teach what's in the curriculum, despite their personal belief. But I do think that these individuals, they cannot separate their personal beliefs from the curriculum. So in other words, even if the curriculum doesn't say something, they will still promote their wokeness. Like, it's very interesting how they will not say, well, if a teacher believes that America is inherently evil, they shouldn't teach. Or if a teacher believes that one race is more guilty than others, then they shouldn't teach. Funny enough, that's exactly how Trump described the critical race theory. Those two things that I mentioned before, because a lot of people on Twitter are very confused when you talk about critical race theory. It's like, what is that? What is that? What is that? Very interesting how they're not confused when you talk about hate speech. Something that confuses me, like, to this day, I would like to know what hate speech is, because, for example, if I were to say jokes from South Park Season 1, is that hate speech? There was another person in the Senate, I believe it was Ted Cruz, he quoted Mother Teresa and her stance on abortions. That sounded a little bit like hate speech, but again, Zuckerberg, which was there, wasn't able to say if Mother Teresa would be in violation of Facebook's terms of service, right? So it's very interesting when they use words, right? Like, they seem to know what hate speech is, they don't know what woke is, or they don't know what critical race theory is. But yeah, critical race theory, described by Trump, was any ideology that believes that America is inherently evil, or that one race is inferior to others, or is more guilty than others. Right? That was what critical race theory was. Of course, those teachers would definitely be promoted and encouraged. And if you complain about critical race theory, they will say, well, it's not in the school books, it's not in the curriculum. However, when it comes to Christian values, they wouldn't even allow Christian teachers in this Arizona school. So, yeah, I mean, this apparently made it into Fox News, and it's not the only time. I mean, it happened before, as you can see here. Assistant principal placed on leave. Video emerges him saying he wouldn't hire Catholics. So, while on the surface, these conversations are happening behind closed doors, they are definitely considering to ostracize people who do not align with the woke values. And we have been knowing this for quite a while. At least that assistant teacher is a lot smarter than this lady with the cat ears, because it's almost like there is a amendment in the Constitution which makes it illegal to discriminate against people on the basis of their faith. So if I was a teacher who applied to this Arizona school and didn't get hired, I have a good case for a lawsuit now, because, well, I mean, she's openly stating Right? It's the our values. Oh, I see. Our values. Yeah, I mean, if you remove all opposition, eventually you remain with only our values. Funny how that works. I mean, you can do this with anything, right? You can go into a classroom and say that 2 plus 2 equals 5. Everyone that disagrees gets expelled. And you start expelling students, and eventually everyone believes that 2 plus 2 equals 5. And then those become our values. It's interesting how it works. So apparently this lady, which was wearing cat ears during meeting, she said that critical biblical beliefs are scaring her. They're very unsafe. Washington Elementary School District, which serves students in the Phoenix and Glendale area, has an ongoing contract with Arizona Christian University for 5 years, enabling their student teachers to be placed in its school for field experience. So the contract opened up opportunities for recruitment and hiring, but of course this lady is very frightened by Christians. I mean, I can see her turning in her bed during the middle of the night and going like, no, the Christians are after me. Fox News asked the school board whether they had a bias against Christian beliefs. They said that the board's decision to discontinue its partnership with Arizona was based on the board's commitment to create a safe place for LGBT people. I'm really curious though, like the LGBT people, right? They do go outside. They do not encounter Christians out there? Like, do they not realize that while a Christian may not agree with gay marriage, they can still be polite and civil towards LGBT folk? Like, this idea that people aren't allowed to have personal beliefs is what shocks me. It's like, no, in a country, everyone needs to think the same. Like, literal thought policing. This used to be a word that we used during the Cold War in order to differentiate about how awesome America is compared to the Soviet Union. Like, the Soviet Union was the one that was doing thought policing. Like, everybody needs to think the same. But in America, it was you're free to think whatever you want, but the actions are what matters, right? So, like, the moment you start becoming violent, the moment you start becoming uncivil, that's when the law steps in. But other than that, you can think whatever you want, because it's a free country. Wasn't that the thing? Like, did I miss the thing? No. Well, they want to create the system where it's like, no, if you don't think like us, then there needs to be accountability. Okay, fine. But when you end up holding more than half the country accountable, don't be Pikachu face when they're going to hold you accountable back. Because this is what happened in California. I covered it in another video. So California decided to boycott public transport to any state which did not have the same women's rights as when it comes to healthcare as California does. And then it expanded it to also like LGBT inclusion and other things. So they ended up boycotting half the United States. Like almost every single red state was boycotted by California. And the funny thing was that this boycott actually hurt California. Because it turns out it's very difficult to find contractors and find people from other states to come over there to work when public transport is very difficult to go to and from California. Right? Like, when you hold accountable more than half of the population, might be a little bit of a problem with you. But anyway, right, let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.